Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 World Golf Championships, sponsored to you and brought to you by Workday. And this is my sleepers, fades, ownership projections, weather, and any other insights I've gathered here recently. I'll be sharing that with you. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much for clicking on. Hopefully you get some interesting information that's going to help you optimize your picks, maybe betting, one and done if you haven't got that in already. All this is information hopefully to help you to just makes hopefully some money. So let's get into this. All right. This first thing I mentioned on yesterday's show, one thing that I always do is I do listen to the player interviews. Typically 98% of it is worthless, but you do get some tidbits that will help you, of course, maybe help in your selection. So there was three of them, Cameron Champ, there was really nothing there. But Justin Thomas and Patrick Reed, what I took out of those that I think might be interesting for you is kind of funny. I guess the locals and people who've played this course, they call it the concussion. The reason why is the elevated greens. If you are not on the green and you are trying to chip or get up and down, because of the lies and the type of grass and the way the grain grows, it can be very difficult. You could hit a pitch. If you land in the wrong area, you could be right back off the green again. The good news is what Justin said was that the greens are very receptive from, I guess, boots on the ground that I've heard. It has been quite moist in Florida, so a lot different. And as I kind of mentioned, from what we saw at the Genesis, you just could not hit, you couldn't go at flags, right? Everything was, you had to like aim at the part of the green that you hoped you could keep the ball on the green. That is not going to be the same here, but I am going to be looking at guys that are a little better on the green because that seems like to be the most difficult part that has been mentioned so far. So on my sleepers, I've kind of maybe looked a little more towards the guys and their game around the green. And on a side note, Justin Thomas was one of my picks. I believe I had him for a top 10. I'm probably going to be, and like I said, I didn't want to pull him off my picks, but I'm not fading him, but I'm not going to be playing him probably as much as I was going to. I'm actually going to lean a little bit to Patrick Reed. And one thing that Patrick mentioned was that he got to come here a little earlier. Of course, he was dealing with the weather in Texas. But in short, he's been here practicing quite a bit. And his new swing coach is David Ledbetter, which I know a bit of. Very technical, all about the swing at clock positions and all that. Last I knew about David Ledbetter. But what I also know is that David Ledbetter has played this course quite a bit and knows this course very well. And I'm sure was able to go out with Patrick and maybe walk him through some of the course. Maybe they played a little bit with each other, but if anything, I'm sure while Patrick was playing in some of his practice rounds, he was walking with him. I think that's an advantage. You also can get an advantage because of Patrick's short game. So what I'm saying is, funny enough, I was kind of on the fence a little bit with JT, just with everything going on. And then, of course, with the news that came out yesterday about Tiger. Hope he's well. I'm not going to go into that. But the whole short of it is it's just a lot that Justin's been dealing with. And I kind of already felt mentally that he was hanging on by a loose thread anyways. So, they come in threes, and this was kind of a third one. And the question was asked to him in this interview, would you consider withdrawing from the tournament? And Justin, at the time, he just found out about it, so he really didn't have a comment on it. I don't think he's going to withdraw, but is it something at times that it's just another thing on his mind? So, again, he's going to be in my player pool, but limited, and I probably will put a little more read in knowing the information that I know from this. So that's my perception on it. You guys can do what you want with that, but I just wanted to give you those insights. Okay, let's jump out of this and let's go into the details on why I'm fading who I am and who I'm picking as sleepers, and then I'll summarize it for you guys. So the first fade is Webb Simpson, and I talked about him a bit. I'm a big Webb Simpson fan. I thought about actually, playing Webb here, and the more I kind of just going over it, of course, Webb is known on Bermuda, but very short tracks is where Webb does very well. But he does putt well on Bermuda. But he's been struggling, and I mentioned this last time, when you're losing for Webb, not hitting fairways, losing on approach, his tee to green and he's not really been gaining. The only last place, which was a Bermuda track, he gained 9 strokes at the Sony. But if you kind of look at here, he's just had, the putter has not been where it's at, and he's not doing that great off the tee. So from a Ball striking, maybe again this could turn and he could come out, and shoot lights out here. But I just haven't been seeing it with Webb. It's just been a really slow start. So with that is I'm going to be fading him. Matthew Wolf, which is no shocker. I've been fading Matthew pretty much back to, I think it was the Zozo. I have to think about this. Let me look, because I always get the CJ and the Zozo. Yeah, so the CJ Cup was one issue, but the Zozo, I believe that was, Sherwood Country Club, which is a course that he played a lot at as a youth and still had no success there. And then what's not listed on here was his withdrawal from the Farmers after he shot like I don't know if it was 6 over on the first day. Then Calamby had a hand injury. That's neither here or there. His game has just been off. Since the U.S. Open and the Shriners, you can see. Then he came out the next weekend at the CJ Cup, and all of a sudden just, losing almost 14 strokes total. Like, it's just not come back. Now, on that side, when we talk about ownership projections, we also need to look at, and so when you build a construction or a lineup, what I would recommend and what I'm going to do, why I'm thinking of this, is build some lineups with specific kind of talents, right? So you probably want to put a lineup together that's bombers, so you got your Phenows and Schefflers and maybe Kokrak's, guys that can hit the ball long. I would build a lineup like that, and then build a lineup that is, great putters, great around the green, steady off the tee, because we just don't know yet exactly how this course is going to play. We can assume what we think this course is going to play like, but, until we at least see one tournament played here, we don't know. And so on that note, actually, the sleepers that I'll be picking, I'm going to go with more guys that are really good on Bermuda, good around the green, because this course I don't think is that demanding off the tee. And yes, it's 7,400 yards, but it's not huge. A big difference between, 7,000 yards. So you split 400 yards over, you just got a couple longer par fives, really, and a couple longer par fours. But anyways, I kind of went off tangent there. But in short, Matthew Wolf is a hard no for me right now. And where I was going with that is, though, if you are going to pick guys that are low owned and do have high upside, where Matthew, he can get very streaky. He can rattle off an eagle, a couple birdies, from a point perspective. So you've also got that narrative of, do you want to build a lineup that's low ownership and has a lot of upside but has a lot of downside? And Matthew would be on it. For the price, I think he's around 7,500 or something like that. There's a few of these guys. Actually, pretty much all the guys that I'm faded. So Hideki, he's already a terrible putter, but his worst surface is Bermuda. And you can see he, over his since inception, he's losing strokes. Now, funny enough, this is more alarming to me than anything, is that at the Genesis, he lost in all the categories that typically he does well at and actually gained putting on POA. And, he did the same thing at the Farmers, lost in all the categories where he should, but also lost putting. He is pretty decent around the green. But usually where he's elite is, ball striking, and the putters always hampered him. But right now, I see both. I see he's losing on the greens, and he's also losing, off the tee and on approach. So there's no way I can roster him. But if you want to build that one, if you're getting in a bunch of GPP lineups, maybe you make that one lineup of the low ownership guys that could turn it around. That's one way to attack it. All right, Gary Woodland. Again, he is getting over injuries. And last we knew, he had that good showing at the Amex, but, then has 2 recent miscuts. But if we look at Gary, and I didn't do this for the other guys, really there's no need, but if we look at Gary, some of his background on some of the comp courses I was looking at. So if I look at the Arnold Palmer, he had the miscut in 2016, and this is a while back, but he's had some, decent finishes at Bay Hill, which I think is a good comp course. We look at Quail Hollow, which is Wells Fargo. Again, he had a miscut in 2018, but, again, in the past had some decent outings. Let's see, the PGA 2017, he had a 22nd. Again, this is going back, but this was before even his heyday. Let me see what it looked like at the Players, at TPC Sawgrass. So he had a 30th. Of course, they didn't play it in 2020. But again, and on that note with Hideki, the last, I don't know, maybe off the top of my head, the last really amazing round he had was that 63 at the Players at TP Sawgrass, but that was a year ago. Anyways, so I'm fading Gary. But again, if you're putting together the all, low ownership team, these are your guys. I can guarantee. I haven't even looked at the ownerships, but I already know they're going to be low. And then Tommy Fleetwood, I've been fading him as it is. He's had some bright spots over in Europe, but he comes to the U.S. and just hasn't had a good showing. Again, Bermuda is one of the, is a negative surface. POA is his positive surface he has. But if you see over his last 10 tournaments, what used to be, again, almost like a Hideki-esque, used to be a great driver of the ball, great long iron or long, or hybrid approach. And then, it was whatever happened with the putter. But again, you can just see his last outings here in the U.S. The Masters, he had a good showing. He does play that course typically well. If we go look at this to see Arnold Palmer, miscut the recent one, but he did have a third back in 2019. If we look at Wells Fargo, played it once, miscut, and that was a while back. The CJ Cup recently, this would have been at Shadow Creek in Vegas, which I was using as a comp course, 59th, which there was only 70 guys in that field. And then the players. So, at TP Sawgrass, a shorter course, he had a 5th and a 7th. So, again, I'm not going to be playing them, but if I wanted to build just that one lineup that was, less owned, low ownership, you can put some of these guys together. Okay, guys that I am playing, and I mentioned looking for guys that can score, that can putt, because, again, it's all about points. We're going to get 4 days. So remember, no cut event. Need guys that can score. We're not so much worried about the bogeys as we are worried about birdies and eagles. And Palmer, if you looked at my consecutive birdie streaks, he can get super hot. He's got to keep it in the fairway and not hit in the water. But, he is positive on Bermuda. As you see here, tee to green, good. Around the green, not so great. But putting, he can get hot. The Farmers, just off the top of my head, I just wanted to see what that surface was POA. But he gained, probably maybe one of his highest gains on putting ever. I don't know if he's ever gained almost 8 strokes putting. There's a 5. Yeah, that's very rare. But, it wasn't that long ago, so maybe he's feeling it with the putter. As you see here, he's gaining with the putter. So, at the Tournament of Champions, which was a 40-man field, and that was at Kapalua. The Plantation Course, Bermuda, par 73. It was another one I was just kind of referencing because it is a elite field. He had a 4th. So I will be playing some Palmer. He almost made it on my top 15 guys. He was, just on there, but for sure I knew I'd put him in sleepers because from a price tag, I think he's, low 7s. Kevin Na, I think he's 6,900. Didn't do well at the Genesis. I think he made the cut, but didn't, let's just see. Yeah, he had a 38th because he was one of my picks. Like I said, not a big fan of his game, but what the guy does very well is he can get super crazy hot putting on Bermuda. Again, I don't think length is going to be that crucial here. And pretty decent form. Of course, he's had to win at the Sony. Missed a cut there, but a 38. So again, but it all comes down to this guy right here, the putter with him. And the Sony is on Bermuda, and that's where he lit it up. So we are going to go with that. So Kevin Na, Billy Ho loves some POA. I'm sorry, Bermuda. His best putting surface, and its approach is where he struggles. So the hope is that that gets a little better. But, off the tee, he's been pretty solid. And if he gets hot with the putter, as you see, gain 8 strokes again at the Sony, which is Bermuda. You could have something there. And he can score. Brendan Todd, I haven't heard a lot about Todd, but, the guy is a putting ninja on Bermuda. Gains over a half stroke against the field on Bermuda. The one thing he does is he will keep it in play. Even though it shows here, but typically, and off the tee, you got to remember the off the tee stat is not about are you hitting in the fairway. It's about are you, gaining 340 yards in the fairway. You hit it 260, 270 in the fairway, they don't, you're not gaining on the field. So that's why those numbers are low. It doesn't mean he's hitting bad tee shots. It just means against the field, he's not gaining. But you can see elite around the green and putting. I think that I'm almost leaning more that is going to be more important here, the putting and around the green, than approach or off the tee. That's where I'm at right now. If I had to rate it, I would rate it putter, chipping around the green, approach, and off the tee. So, that's how I'd rate it without ever seeing the course from actually see the PGA event played. So I like Brendan Todd. He can also get pretty hot if the putter's working. And then lastly, Abraham Answer. So this is a little different play. But again, for the price, I believe he's like 6,900, 6,800. And, Bermuda, he doesn't really gain or lose a whole lot on any surface. And I actually looked here. So he gained almost 7 strokes at the Tournament of Champions. So that's his last like awesome putting performance. And that was on Bermuda. So that was part of it. The guy is typically pretty elite with approach and off the tee. Around the green is a little suspicious, but the hope is that you're hitting the greens and we don't have to worry about that as much. But again, if you watch my consecutive birdie streaks, he was one of the top guys that will get that 3 birdies in a row and get the bonus. So, you're getting 4 days of them, and if he can get the putter going, we haven't heard much of him. I think, it's a guy that I'm going to go with. All right. Let's jump into the summary of that then. Okay, so my fades are, again, to recap, we are fading Mr. Simpson with the grumpy face because your game is just not where it used to be in all aspects. Wolf, same thing. Something went awry at some point. He's going to get super hot again. I know it. Maybe it's at this tournament, but again, if you are putting a team together that you are, low ownership and does have a lot of upside with a ton of volatility, Wolf's your guy. Hideki, same thing, fits that mold to a T. It's been terrible, but out of nowhere, could he just light it up? I mean, literally, this team I've got here, if you just put this as a team and these guys go off, you win the GPPs, I guarantee you. But Gary Woodland, same thing, terrible form. And then Fleetwood just has shown nothing here in the States. So these are the guys I'm fading. I don't think anything is a shocker, but yeah. All right, from a sleeper perspective, I like Ryan Palmer who can get hot with the putter. You're going to notice that same with Billy Ho. You got the Todd Father and Abraham Answer. We need to get hot with the putter. So if you look at these guys, none of them really elite tee to green, but all good short game, great putters, except you got elite tee to green and can get hot with the putter. It's just very rare. All right, let's talk about ownership because I think this is going to help you on how you make your picks. And it's kind of interesting. Your top 5 guys really are just spread ownership. But it's no one's. Which makes sense. DJ had a bad showing. Rahm hasn't been that great with the putter. You got Cantlay, the highest owned, and then that could be due to price at 10,000. DeChambeau, I'm shocked. I think that's just a lot of recent. I was kind of guessing he'd be higher due to his, NCAA victory here way back, which again, I'm not holding a ton of weight, but at least he does know the course. He's comfortable with it. You got Terrell Hatton, which is, a fear of mine. Pretty even ownership across the board. Victor Hovland, been elite tee to green. If the putter stays hot, he could be a great play. Berger off his win recently, Florida guy. Sanjay M. That's kind of shocking to me. I was just curious because he's been kind of out of, typically out of sight, out of mind. But, that's pretty high ownership. But I think it is a good fit for him. All right, let's see what else we got here. This is what I wanted to point out. Lanto Griffin, which I picked him. He's in my player pool. Whenever he's below 7,000, he always 10x's his value. I probably just jinxed him, but I've been saying this forever. And that's, I think even Rick Rungood, Rick Gaiman, he says the same thing. He's correct. So I think that's why that number is so high. The guy is just, again, elite putting. So just note to self, I think he's like the highest. He's the highest owned guy right now from an ownership projection is Lanto Griffin. You got Ryan Palmer at 19. I think, again, just from a price perspective. Harris English. Where's Matthew Wolf? Yeah, 4% ownership. So that's what I was saying. 7,600. If you're building that all possible, maybe could, break through. Who else is really low owned? I just want to see. Victor Perez, 1.3. There you go. Throw him on the team. Let me just go back one. So Fleetwood. Matsuyama's less than 5%. Yeah, so kind of with my phase is what ownership projection is kind of showing. So anyways, that's ownership projection for you. Last weather, there's nothing crazy here. I'm only showing this because it is a no-cut event, so we're not worried about, who gets what draw with tee times, all that stuff. The only thing I'm showing this for is for Showdown. If you are a Showdown player, the only thing I would watch, and of course, I'm recording this on Wednesday around 2:30 Eastern time. So a lot could change. But Thursday, Friday looks pretty calm, pretty good. Light winds, nothing to concern about. The weather is going to be warmer, so the ball is going to fly a little further for these guys. So a little different than the California swing that we saw. But I just noticed this. If you look at Saturday morning, you get some gusts up to 20 miles an hour. And also the same with Sunday morning, gust up to 20 miles an hour. So, just something to keep an eye on. Where you want to go to, wind finder, and you want to pull up this Bradenton Manatee River. This is like right next to the course, so you're getting very accurate close wind data. But yeah, if you're playing Showdown, it's something to take a look at, and just keep an eye out for your roster. And that's it. That's everything I've got to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you would greatly, if you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, go ahead and click the dislike and tell me what I could do better. Always looking to improve this show. If you are new and you want to share this with anybody, I would greatly appreciate it. Anybody else that is betting, do anything with fantasy golf, would be awesome. And if you've not subscribed, and you've watched this show or others, again, I plead, please click the subscribe button. We are growing the base, and it just keeps getting more. And it just keeps me doing this. As I keep the subscribe base keeps growing, I'll keep doing this. And then if you have any questions or any comments, you can leave them on YouTube, and I check it regularly. Or you can follow me on DFS Golf Guru on the Twitter sphere and ask me whatever, and I will respond there. Okay, that's it. Best of luck, and look forward to talking to you guys on Monday. And again, if you guys, anyone in the community, has a great win or something they want to share, just let me know, and I would love to share it in the show. I don't share my stuff. I've said this before. I don't think you guys really give a crap if I'm winning or, well, I would guess you'd care if I'm winning or losing. But to talk about my wins, I'm not going to do that. If we hit something that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'll share it and let you guys know. All right, take care.